Alright guys, welcome back to another issue, and today we have the Incredible Hulk. I guess you could say things are about to get messy. I'm pretty sure this is the first video we have of him on the channel, so I hope you guys enjoy it. Make sure you smash that subscribe and like button, and without further ado, let's jump right into the video. Opening on our first page, we see the Hulk rampaging through New York and sending everyone into a frenzy. He then thinks to himself, why does everyone always run from, and yells at him. Then a cop threatens to shoot him. With the Hulk hearing that the cops are about to let the bullets fly, he leaps out of their vicinity. But not that it matters if he did or not, I'm pretty sure bullets will have no effect on him. Switching scenes, we see Rick Jones rushing to make his way to the Hulk after being lucky that he was able to find someone who needed their car driven to New York, but strangely warned him not to open the trunk. Now to give you guys a bit of a backstory, Rick feels like he owes Bruce Banner his life after Bruce risked his, saving him from a gamma bomb field test, which ultimately caused Bruce to turn into the Hulk. So ever since then, Rick feels like it's his fault that happened to him and owes him. Cutting to the hopeful Samaritan that lended his car to Rick, we see that he might not be such a nice guy after all, as it seems he has been planning something for a while. And one of the key things he needs is for his car to reach New York just in time for when General Ross gives the code to launch the Orion missile. We then see that the strange guy that lended Rick the car had installed an ultra wave scanner beneath the car's floorboard, and now all he needs to do is wait for the Orion missile to blast off, then New York will be destroyed. Now I don't know what this guy's grudge is with the city that never sleeps, but hopefully soon we will find out. Swapping to General Ross, we see that he is on his way to the launch site now that the preparations are ready for the countdown. His daughter Betty then asks him what's so important about the Orion missile, and he informs her that the Orion missile is anti-missile proof and no other missiles can destroy it, so if the test launch goes well, it will be the greatest weapon of all. Now in the control room, the staff informs him that there is only 30 seconds left till launch. General Ross then takes those few seconds to reflect on how the Secret Empire, Hulk, and Boomerang tried to stop them, but everything is still right on schedule. Those are events that happened in previous issues before I started making videos, so check them out if you want more details to what Ross means. With the missile now in flight, General Ross worries that if anything goes wrong, the Orion missile is powerful enough to level an entire city. But one of his men then tells him that his trajectory is right on course before Ross tells him that the flight will last 7 minutes in hopes that it can stay over the ocean for the safety of others. Cutting back to the Hulk, we see that he has been followed by the cops and that he is tired of always being attacked by people and decides that it is time to make a stand, then screams how nothing can hurt him. The cops then try to clear the streets and get barricades up. One cop even says he feels sorry for the Hulk because he's always alone and outnumbered, right before one of them in a helicopter reluctantly gets ready to fire on him. Seeing that the Hulk was getting ready to leap at him, the cop shoots a volley of rockets at him, but the shells just bounce off him but cause enough impact to make him lose his footing and fall off the building. Now on his descent to the ground, a nearby cop warns everybody to get back before the Hulk crash lands into the hard asphalt street. While slowly recovering, the cops can't believe that the Hulk is still alive after the fall he took, but the Hulk quickly shakes it off and looks pissed. Seeing that everyone is his enemy, the Hulk finally decides to strike back. Lifting up a car effortlessly, the Hulk slams it onto another one, causing a blockade to stop the other approaching cops from reaching him. One of the bystanders even take notice that he chose 2 of the empty cars to not harm anyone, even though he could have easily done so. With Rick finally making it to the scene, he quickly tells the Hulk to get in, hoping that he can remember him. The Hulk then notices that he is the only one that wants to help him, then joins Rick. Rick then tells the Hulk that the cops and bystanders aren't his enemy, they just don't understand, and that there has to be a way to stop them from trying to harm him. But the Hulk just yells that nothing can harm him because he is the Hulk, and that if Rick tries to trick him, he's going to die. But Rick then tells him that he needs to learn to trust him and that all he wants to do is save him the same way that he once saved him during the gamma bomb. Now minutes later, which is kinda crazy now that I think about it, how did the car hold Hulk's weight while they were driving? Bro has to weigh like a ton. Anyways, Rick then says that he will never be safe as the Hulk and that they gotta find a way to change him back to Bruce Banner. The Hulk then yells out that Banner is a weakling and helpless and that the Hulk is strong and can do anything. Rick then thinks to himself that whenever Banner is Hulk, he thinks Banner is someone else and doesn't realize that they are the same person. Hulk then says that he can't sit around doing nothing with all his strength and power and that he must fight. Now cutting back to the strange guy that lended Rick his car, we see that the cops have caught him, then learn that he's a spy named Gork or Reach Grok. He then yells out that his life doesn't matter as long as he completes his mission. One of the officers then tells him to take his hand off the control panel, but he quickly presses a button on the panel anyway, announcing that nothing will save New York from its own Orion missile just before the cops can detain him. Switching back to the Hulk and Rick, we now see that the car that, let's just call him Gork, lended Rick, trunk starts to open. Rick then warns the Hawk to run, but Hawk stands his ground as he's been looking for something to smash before the robot charges up an electric bolt aiming for him and Rick. Before the Hawk can make a move, the robot seems to have zapped him with the bolt and it sends Hawk flying right into a brick wall, then turns away to complete whatever task it was programmed to do. But that's not enough to keep the Hawk down. He then gets back up and charges at the robot, slamming right onto its back. The robot then prepares to blast him with another bolt, but the Hawk is ready for it this time and delivers a heavy blow to the robot. Continuing on with his rampaging assault on the robot, the Hawk then lifts the robot up effortlessly to deliver his final blow. Rick then tries to tell the Hawk to wait before destroying it so they can learn what its purpose was. But this is the Hawk and he's angry and continues to slam the robot on the ground, completely destroying it. Cutting to the Orion missile, we see that it seems to have changed its course due to something that the robot did, which was all a part of Gork's plan. The staff at the launch site then start to panic as they realize that the Orion missile is headed straight for New York and there's nothing they can do to stop it. With the missile getting closer to New York, the launch crew scramble to try and contact anyone who can help, the Fantastic Four or even the Avengers, but it's too late for only seconds are left before impact. But Rick and Hawk take notice of the Orion missile that's hurtling towards them, then somewhere within the Hawk, a bit of banner starts to show as he recognizes the missile being as though he built it. Then leaps towards it, grabbing hold of the missile, but as he holds on to it, the Hawk then starts to forget why he's even on the missile in the first place. And with forgetfulness, his rage starts to subside and he changes back into Bruce Banner. But what chance does Bruce Banner have holding onto a missile headed for New York? With Bruce still on the Orion missile, we get a glimpse of the people on the streets of New York, and they are all in panic as they see a missile coming straight for them. We even see a woman that is fainted due to the chaos that is all around her, and an officer that has taken notice of Bruce hanging on to the missile. Switching scenes to Bruce, we see that he still thinks that there's a chance to save the city, being as though he built the Orion missile and knows every circuit and wiring it contains. He then pulls off a panel and alters the direction of the missile by changing its direction finder manually. Then we see back at the missile control room that the missile is doing just that and will overshoot the city. Two of the staff thinks it's a miracle, but one of them thinks someone is guiding it. Cutting back to Bruce, we now see him on top of the Orion missile ready to accept his fate, but finds solace knowing that even though he lived as the monstrous Hawk, he will die as Bruce Banner the Man. But with his adrenaline pumping, ready to meet his end, he ends up triggering himself to turn back into the Hawk right before the blast. Now seconds later in the ocean, Hawk is greeted by a slew of bullets from a pilot. Knowing that his bullets will have no effect on the Hawk, he radios back to base telling them that the Hawk was behind the Orion missile sabotage. Not knowing that it was actually him, or well Bruce, that saved the city and really a secret spy named Gork who sabotaged the missile's launch. Switching scenes to some police officers, we see that they have found the leader's lab. If you want more info on who the leader is, I recommend you go read Tales to Astonish issue number 74. They then find what looks to be a humanoid robot in a diary, then discover that the humanoid robot was constructed to beat the Hawk no matter what and proceeds to contact the Pentagon. An hour later, General Thunderbolt Ross arrives with his daughter Betty and Ace security officer Major Glenn Talbot and gets right to work on trying to get the humanoid robot online by announcing that he'll get his top research expert there before nightfall. With a little time passed, we see that the general was good on his word and has his expert researcher there. He then gives him the leader's notes to study. Betty seems to be worried about all this, but her father tells her to stay out of it. The researcher then says he doesn't know how long it'll take, but Ross just says he didn't ask how long and that he will wait. Then just before midnight hits, we see that the researcher is now done and all he has to do is hit the corresponding controls in the proper sequence and the humanoid robot should come online. And that's just what happens seconds later as the robot starts to awaken. With the humanoid robot awakened, it shatters the plexiglass it was encased in into nothingness, then proceeds to casually walk its way towards an unknown destination. The officers try their best to stop it, but with its incredible strength, it just goes right past them and through a cement wall, most likely making its way to the Hawk. Speaking of the Hawk, we now switch scenes to him and Rick wants to help find Hawk a place to hide, being as though everyone is looking for him, thinking he was responsible for the Orion missile heading for New York, even though he was the one who actually saved them. But Hawk just says he doesn't care what the people think and lifts up a heavy iron wall leading to an iron foundry. Now in the foundry, Rick tells Hawk to wait there while he goes out to get something for them to eat. Then Hawk responds by saying that he will wait but not for long as he is tired of people attacking him and that next time he will attack first. We then cut to another secret hideout with the Boomerang, a previous antagonist of the Hawk in issue Tales to Astonish number 81. Check that out for more details on him. But now currently we see he's frustrated, being as though the secret empire has been smashed, resulting in him never getting paid for his services after he risked his life fighting the Hawk. He then looks on the bright side though. After battling the Hawk, he learned what his weaknesses were and has now remedied them. He talks about how he has improved his boomerang skills with his whirling disc and rocket jets, and how he is twice the fighter he was before. Then demonstrates how his flying boomerang can be used like, and I quote, a super karate blow, then shatters a 15-inch iron slab. He then moves on to his now new and improved miniaturized disc and shows how they are far more deadlier by slicing a gun in half after throwing it thanks to his skills from being a former ex-baseball pitcher. Continuing on with his demonstration to himself, he then shows how his jets are equal to any flying device in the world by jumping through a fire ring, stating that no matter how fast or far Hawk may leap, he is his master now. He then goes on to show one more thing, saying that he has made himself Hawk's equal in strength, and that when they next meet, Boomerang shall be the victor. Now I'm gonna be honest, all the other stuff he demonstrated is alright and all, but equaling yourself to the Hawk's strength? Yeah, I highly doubt that. Switching scenes back to the humanoid robot, we see that the military is now regretting bringing it online. They even try to use an atomic flamethrower on it, trying their best to hold off the humanoid, but nothing seems to be able to hold back the nicknamed Hawk Killer robot. Easily ripping the atomic flamethrower apart, the military decides to bring out a different weapon, one that deals with sound, and aims the atomic powered sound cannon right at the humanoid robot. With the robot hit point blank by the atomic sound cannon, it instantly sets up a defense and deactivates all auditory and sensory circuits. Holy, there's a lot of atomic weaponry going on here. Realizing that none of their weaponry worked, the military decides to reposition and fall back until they can somehow find the Hawk, as he might be the only one that stands a chance against it. With long minutes going by trying to hold off the devastation of the robot, someone screams out that they found the Hawk and that he's headed their way. Switching to Hawk, we see that he heard the sound of battle and troops, thinking that they were waiting for him. So instead of letting them attack first, Hawk decides to bring the fight to them, crashing through the wall, coming face to face with the humanoid robot. Now face to face, two deadly powered foes go for each other, with Hawk landing the first heavy blow, but the humanoid completely absorbs it with his plastidine frame, then answers back with a devastating blow right onto the Hawk's face. With the Hawk now groggy trying to get to his feet, the humanoid robot moves in to finish him off. Looking to put an end to the Hawk, the humanoid grabs him by the face, ready to smash what looks like a metal rod into him. The Hawk then lashes out, landing blow after blow on the humanoid, but to no avail, as mentioned earlier, that his body can absorb his punches. We then see the troops witness the fight, and even they see how hopeless this matchup is for the Hawk before the humanoid robot decides to strike back. Cutting to the general, we see that he is happy that the humanoid is coming out on top during the fight, but Betty seems to be the only one worried about the Hawk and trying to remind everyone that although they might not like the Hawk is still Bruce Banner, the man she loves and cares for. Her father then tries to remind her how Bruce, aka the Hawk, tried to destroy New York City with the Orion missile, but Betty argues the exact opposite. We then switch scenes to the actual person that tried to destroy New York City, an undercover spy named Gork, and he's being interrogated after being caught with actually sabotaging the Orion missile, but the officials want to know how he managed to team up with the Hawk, which he then lets them know that he's never worked with the Hawk and that the Hawk actually ruined his entire plan. Dun dun dun. He then goes into detail about how he arranged for the missile to zero in on New York, but the Hawk managed to change its course, and that they both know that it was the Hawk who saved the city, thinking that they are trying to trick him. With these details finally being uncovered, the officials make an emergency call to let the military know that the Hawk is actually innocent, which seconds later Glenn Talbot receives the call, but for a quick second thinks to himself that if no one knew that the Hawk is innocent, they could take out both the humanoid and Hawk, aka Bruce Banner, the man that Betty loves. If you guys don't know by now, he wants to be with Betty, but she loves Bruce. He then quickly changes his mind and decides to do the right thing. Now relaying the message to General Ross, Betty is relieved to know that she was right the whole time about the Hawk. They then try to figure out how they're going to get the Hawk separated from the humanoid so they can use the proton shell, being as though the blast will hit them both being that close to each other. Rick tries his best to get through to the troops to let him help, letting them know that he's a friend of the Hawk's, but his words fall on deaf ears as they don't believe him. Cutting back to the fight, we see that the Hawk is taking a beating, leaving everyone in shock and wondering just how long he can endure it. The Hawk then suddenly jumps and tackles the humanoid, leaping into the air like a missile. Now 2,000 feet in the air, the Hawk instantly regrets it as the humanoid was able to make his body hollow, allowing it to float. We then quickly cut to the Boomerang donning his new costume and ready to take the field. Flying off the rooftop with his rocket jets, the Boomerang tries to quickly find the scene where the Hawk and the humanoid are fighting after hearing a news broadcast of their fight while finishing his costume. Then with what seems like seconds, he quickly finds them and gloats, telling the Hawk farewell and that he is lucky it was the humanoid that beat him and not him, as he would have been less gentle. Falling 2,000 feet from the sky, the Hawk and the humanoid crash into the street with both of them still conscious. The Hawk then thinks to himself that he can't beat him in the air and he has to find a way to beat him on the ground. Still thinking to himself, the Hawk says that he needs Banner but is unaware that him and Banner are one and the same. We then see that General Ross and the rest of the troops have caught up to the location of the humanoid and Hawk and try to open the gate to get to them. Now entering the gate, they witness the Hawk still taking a beating. General Ross wonders why the Hawk won't just leap to safety, as Rick quickly tells him that the Hawk will never retreat from a fight and that he will fight to the end if he must. Rushing to try to help the Hawk, Rick catches what looks to be like a pimp slap right to the face, and with the sudden shock of seeing his friend get injured, the Hawk quickly changes back to Bruce Banner. Now back as Bruce Banner, he quickly checks on his friend to make sure that he's okay before one of the troops alerts them that the humanoid is advancing towards them. General Ross then tells the troop to alert the proton gun crew to prepare to fire, but Bruce tells them to wait as the weapon is too powerful and dangerous. He then tells Tailbot aka Glenn to get the humanoid distracted while they head to the repair yard to come up with a plan. Now in the repair shop, Betty encourages Bruce to do what she knows that he is capable of doing and show the world that he is on mankind's side. Bruce then informs everyone that there is only one way to stop the humanoid, then goes on to say how it is not alive and how it is a machine and a machine can be immobilized. He then tells Rick to tell General Ross to get as many technicians there fast, not knowing that the general is already behind him. The general then says he'll get it done, but asks what's his plan and what can he do that none of their weapons couldn't. Bruce then goes on to explain that the humanoid is more than a giant indestructible menace and that he was created by one of the most dangerously brilliant minds that ever lived, and that the only way to fight him isn't brute force but counterintelligence. General Ross then places his faith in Bruce but warns him that for his sake he better hope his plan works. We then cut to the humanoid still causing mayhem outside with the troops trying their best to hold him back. Holding out, the troops wonder where Banner could be as they can barely keep up with the humanoid's rampage. And that's just where we head next, with Banner done working on whatever machine he's been cooking up. Finally finished, he tells everyone to leave the room as the humanoid is closely approaching, but Tailbot and General Ross decide to stay to see the plan through. Bruce then cautions them to get behind him as he needs to lift the machine over the humanoid's head. Then to General Ross's confusion, he wonders how he's going to manage to lift it with how heavy the device is, to which Bruce answers the Hawk is, long as he can just remember. Then thinking Bruce has gone mad, Ross reminds him that he is not the Hawk anymore but Bruce Banner, but after Bruce makes eye contact with the humanoid, he quickly turns back into the Green Goliath. Now back as the Hawk, he keeps trying to remind himself what he's supposed to do when General Ross reminds the Hawk that he wanted to lift the machine. Finally starting to lift it, it starts to become loaded with power as the humanoid looks confused. Leaping over the humanoid's head with the machine, the Hawk aims it at it, blasting it with a high voltage current, causing the humanoid to get short-circuited as it was never alive but a robot with wires and circuits. But with the Hawk catching the feedback of the blast, he too drops to the ground unconscious, with everyone around him seeing him as a hero. Betty, Glenn, and General Ross then rush to his side, with Betty asking Glenn if he's okay, to which he responds that he is still breathing. Then thinks to himself that if Hawk reverts back to Banner, his chances of winning Betty's love are ruined. Which is crazy, like, come on bro, he just risked his life to save all of you and that's what you're worried about? General Ross then says he'll send for the medics as he also wants Banner to pull through. We then see off in the distance that the Boomerang has been watching everything unfold, waiting to see if the Hawk recovers, and if so, he has the perfect plan, knowing that if he buys his time and waits for the Hawk to change back into powerless Bruce Banner, then there is no way his plan can fail. And that brings us to the end of this video. Not gonna lie, I really enjoyed this one. The action just kept going with no signs of slowing down, even up to the conclusion. I still wonder who Gork worked for, and my god, does General Ross have it out for the Hawk? He kind of reminds me of Triple J with Spider-Man. Anyway, let's get to the rating. I'm gonna give this one a 5 out of 10. I think combining 3 of the issues bumped up the score a bit. But what would you guys rate this 3-story issue? Let me know in the comments. But that's all the time we got for this one. Keep doing what you love doing, and be true to yourself. Peace.